Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to CONSERVATISH episode 234. My name is Peter Feliciano. Wherever you're listening or watching, make sure you rate, hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell, leave a comment, share this with your less offendable friends. It is important. It helps me much. And you can find me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano and on TikTok at the same handle TikTok or no, Twitter. Thank you.
Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah, on Twitter at Rule62Peter, and you can support my music and my podcast at patreon.com/conservatish or just Venmo me at Peter-Feliciano. Ladies and gentlemen, returning guest Layla Ray, aka Propaganda Fluent.
Yay! It's so exciting.
It is exciting. Yes. Please, people, tell the people who you who you are, where people can find you.
Yeah, so I have an Instagram, and I wanted to come on your show because I am starting up my YouTube. So we're gonna break things down a little bit more, nice. Where we can go into the topics like I talk about things like normalization, conditioning, how to prime people, all that fun stuff that we don't really talk about. But now that it's convenient, I can actually talk about my interests. So, and release it into the public.
Now that it's convenient, what?
Yeah, now that's a convenient time. Before, like pre-2020, nobody wanted to hear about that.
Exactly. No, that would be like reading. Nobody likes to read. Reading is no fun. No. So okay, so you're going to be starting up a YouTube. What's going to be on this YouTube?
Yeah, so we're going to break things down a lot more. We're going to talk about, okay, how do you condition people? How do you slowly prime people to things, like what propaganda really does? Like I'm working on a video where I talk about propaganda isn't really just clever marketing. It's more like, have you ever seen those zombie bugs? Have you ever seen those?
No.
Okay.
So the ones that burrow inside of ants?
No. So there's this fungus that gets inside the central nervous system of the bugs and eats away at them, but the bugs still are animated. But the fungus is controlled. So it's like propaganda is kind of like that. It's less like a fun marketing ploy, but more like an actual mind virus.
Actual mind virus.
Yeah. Right. Talk about things like that, I think.
And it's going to be in a show format or a podcast format? Or?
Yeah, like little mini documentaries, little mini, episodes, I think, to break it down. Because a lot of people give me feedback that, a minute reel or 30-second reel is like kind of too much to try to fit it all in. So I think like a 14-minute video would just make things a little bit easier to follow.
Yeah, definitely. Especially breaking down using examples.
Yeah.
Putting nice little buttons on it. I was writing, Adam Coleman has wanted me to write articles for him, right? For Wrong Speak Publishing. And I can't do it because he wants 2 pages. I'm like, I could let me go on for like 10 or 15. Then it'll be good. Yeah, 2 pages is
hard. You need a little book, like books. Yeah, right. I get that.
And what do you feel? What do you feel like? So you don't feel like doing like this type of thing where you're? I mean, I've seen you go live many times on your Instagram, and do you think you'll ever go live on your YouTube as well, or?
Yeah, I think I'll definitely do live. I've been told I need more props. I need more images and things like that. So I think this format, like a conversation format, is too abstract for people still. So I'll probably do, if I do conversation, I'll do where it's like images. And on live, you can do that as well. You can have the little image slide decks, and then you can talk to them. So things like that. I'm just trying to understand how the audience, how consuming this information works best, because anyone can just go get a book and read about it, but that's not as fun.
That's true. You can also do little slides, little banners like this.
Oh yeah, like and subscribe. Exactly. Except you're racist. Oh my gosh. I saw you actually put out a post, and then I think it was even too much for you, and you had to take it down.
I do that very rarely.
Strike. Maybe you were scared to get a strike or something, but I was like, oh.
No, I mean, listen, so many things like you can do your best. We can all do our best to
Yeah.
ride the rail, to get it out, to get our message out there, to curtail our desire to just hit motherfuckers with a mallet. I very rarely take it down. I think I did post something about, what was it, like 2 weeks ago? I said something about California is, yeah. Because California is deciding to, no, it's not. No, it's fucking not.
It's
No, the people, the white shit fucks in charge of California are deciding for the rest of us to get rid of fuel
yeah.
guzzling cars. And
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely not because they want to control us. It's just for
No,
the environment. They
not at
just care
all.
about the environment.
No, they don't.
Right.
It's not because they want us to stay home, and the cost of replacing, an electric battery in a car is probably, upwards of 16 to 20,000, dollars. It's
Right.
not because of that.
No. It's because they want us. It's because they care so much. So they care so much. And I just retweeted
Mm.
Gavin fucking Newsom saying that shit. And I said,
Noodles.
New York and California are in a fight for who can be the shittiest, whitest place to live. Because that's really what it is. And again, people go ahead and be mad, motherfucker, and I'll goddamn explain it again. Because so many people are like, Pete, it's not just white liberals. I know. You don't have to tell. I know. Shh, 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 shh. But I'm saying who is the majority of the problem? It's who is the gas in the tank? Who grabbed these white liberals by the ears and said, "Vote the way we want you to, or you're a racist."
Yeah,
It's the people using you. They used white guilt to do that, right?
yeah,
And the white liberals, they of course they did it because they. What's that old thing on The Office, where what's his face? Dwight is trying to get everybody to use the new gym that he built, and he's at first you got to get the black people in, then the white people will come, and then you find a way to get the black people out. So that's really what it is.
Oh
And
my
they
God.
use the black people to say Black Lives Matter. Look at the black square. You have to vote Biden, or you're. And everybody was like, "Oh my God, you're right. I'm gonna gut myself. I'm gonna just, kowtow, and I'm a bad person. I'm gonna vote this way." And then Black Lives just. It's a ghost town. So if I can use, since white guilt made them do that, I'm gonna use white guilt to get them to listen to non-white, if I have to, non-straight, non-cis people who
Mhm,
disagree. We're going
mhm,
to use
mhm.
cognitive dissonance to push these ideas that, or this context, or this nuance, or whatever, into these motherfuckers' ears, whether they like it or not.
Exactly. It's gonna work. I mean, Netflix. Look at Netflix.
Mm,
They're like some of the wokest of the woke
mm,
in the heart of woke land,
mm,
Silicon Valley, and they're just like, you know what, F it. Like, we want to make money. Put these
mhm.
comedy specials up. Who cares?
Yeah, yeah, they didn't take Dave Chappelle down.
Yeah, good news.
So okay, so you're going to do a show. This is exciting. This is
Yeah.
exciting news. You're not necessarily going to do the interview thing, although I have seen you do live stuff.
I do. I think I will do interviews, but someone like you yourself, someone like who's able to understand like social manipulation to a
Mm,
level and like implement it and act on it, things like that. Not just like regular people, not so much.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of it is what I like about being in this. I was talking with someone recently, and was talking with them about how they have just naturally dehumanized people who they disagree with, and how when I'm
Mhm.
sharing my opinion, or the reasoning behind my opinion, it's like a new world to them. They're like, "Oh, I didn't even because they've been told for years that anybody, not only anybody who votes a certain way or thinks a certain way, is racist, homophobic, but also that the reasoning behind it, they just gave it to them, right? They just gave it
Mhm.
to them. It's because xenophobic. It's because race. It's because, and so when there was a crack in the whatever, and my foot's in the door because she loves me, and then now it's like, okay, well, here's my opinion, and it's news to her, and I feel like
Yeah.
that's interesting, but if we're not careful about the way we communicate, or not even careful, I don't want to say, But if we're not calculated about the way we share things, it gets harder for people's ears to stay open, right?
It does. Yeah.
Where like sometimes people are like, I always try to put that message out there to the patriots, that they don't just say, if you hate, if you vote for Biden, it's because you like pedophilia. Bro, like,
Really? Let's back it up.
let's back it up. Hang on. Number one,
Funny.
do you think anyone's going to listen? No. Number two, they said the same shit about fucking Trump. Okay, so let's is that the most? Do I think Biden is a pedophile? He does like sniffing and touching fucking little girls. It is creepy. He's a creep fuck piece
I
of
wouldn't
shit.
be shocked if he was.
Yes.
Let's just say that.
I would not be shocked.
I would not be like, oh my God.
Right. But is that going to not even engender people to listen to us, but it also is a ham-handed way to do it.
Yeah.
It's a ham-handed diagnosis,
Yeah, I've noticed that. And that's what's the most frustrating part is people don't know about progression. You didn't wake up one day as Peter, just like knowing all you know, having your stance, everything. It was a progression. Everyone's a progression of concepts, of information, theories. It's a progression. So yeah, when you hand it over to people, you need to make it, number one, digestible for them. Because if they don't have any concept to relate it to, and I use this example, like some people don't even understand why freedom is beneficial. They don't have a concept of it because what? They grew up in America, very privileged, very wealthy by, historical human standards, like just phenomenal wealth. So they have no concept of what it would be like to live in feudal Europe in the 13th century. That's not something like not having rights, not having the ability to like do what you want to do, say what you want to say. Even in the 1950s, 1940s, they wouldn't have any concept of that. So you have to make it digestible. Just because we use words on people and technically we know the definition doesn't mean it has any intrinsic meaning to us. It doesn't mean it has like an emotional meaning. It doesn't like hit us, like we don't get it, And we've all had that experience. Like we hear about something, like we know what it's like to like, let's say, have your grandparents die. We know that's something that happens, but you hear about it and it's like, oh, okay. But then once it actually happens to you, it's a lived experience. It's not a secondary experience. Then you're like, oh, that has real meaning to me. So we have to make things digestible for people, and we have to make it something that they would actually care about so that they would continue to want to listen. If they don't care about freedom, then shouting about freedom isn't going to do anything. You have to make it something that they would actually care about. Maybe it's like, oh, if you don't have capitalism, you're not going to be able to play Grand Theft Auto. In communism, you can't play Grand Theft Auto because you have to work in the salt mill or something, like right. Anything like that. Like you have to be creative about it. And that's one of the things I hate about like conservatives. It's like, you guys don't pander and you need to pander more. Problem. You got to make this money. You got to make this happen.
Yeah, that's absolutely what a great fucking point. Absolutely. And knowing what you're doing is an important thing, right? Because the Lord knows Biden panders and he knows what he's doing, right? He's a race baiting piece of shit, right? We all know it, right? But so being calculated is important, not only to keep people's ears open and to get them. It's any sales pitch, man. Know your audience. Know your audience. It's that whole thing of like, I mean, we all people get a bad rap for like, code switching, right? But I'm sorry.
What self do I bring to work?
What self?
Which self do I bring to work? Can I bring my bonnet self to work? I just want to know.
Right. But like a code switching is kind of important if you're in sales. If you're in sales, you don't go, "What up, man? How you doing?" If if a Trumpy kind of guy, a New Yorkie salesman, ready, he's kind of up, his head is, oh, yeah, you just you go to that motherfucker. "What's up, man? How you doing? Welcome to the show." If you're trying to sell him a car. If a little old lady comes in, you adjust your approach. You don't, again, it's not a lying thing, but if a little old lady, you talk about safety, right? With
Yes.
with the Trumpy guy, you don't give a fuck. He doesn't care about how many
He wants to know about the trim. He wants
airbags.
to know the miles. He wants to know speed. Yeah. He wants, yeah.
Yeah, so you know your audience, you know.
Yeah, and people think that's not being honest. That's not this. That's not that. It's no. It's communication, and you're letting them know what the ultimate goal will be. They will be happy, right?
Right,
So.
right. How do you feel? How do you feel like the current? Well, I want to say the current administration, because again, let's be real too. Biden, he's a stool pigeon. Let's be fucking real. He ain't. That guy is not a mastermind. Okay, he's filling his diapers right now. He's not a mastermind coming in like I'm gonna change the world. And he's just doing what he set out to do. He's doing what he was told to do. He's doing what he's being told to do. How do you feel? What successful avenues of communication do you feel like the left, if we just want to put a blanket statement on it, have employed?
Yeah, so like you said earlier, they pander. They know that logic and reason isn't going to win over these people. They use emotion. They build everything. They construct it from the beginning to the end. They tell you why you should care about something, not that you should care about it. They tell you why, how to care about it, what it is, like every single step of the way. And that's something that Edward Bernays did. If your audience doesn't know, he was like the original propagandist. He's really famous for getting women to smoke cigarettes and things like that. Getting lead in the water, not lead, fluoride in the water. Probably lead too, but
Yeah.
he convinced the public to that would be a good idea. So things like that. And what he would do is he would do the whole marketing campaign that we would see, where he would have the ads and the pitch and the blah blah blah, all the dazzle razzle dazzle. But then he would go on to, like, let's say local community clubs and teach them how to do it. Like, how do you smoke? Oh, let me show you how to do it. And that's the other part. It's like, tell them what the behavior is, but then you have to train them of the behavior that you want. And that's the part that the left gets that the right does not get at all. Because they think, oh, if I speak to you logically, and if I think of you as a peer, respectable peer, then I'm just going to explain to you, and that will be that. And then I will hope that you take it upon yourselves and you're mature enough to, implement it how you see best, blah, blah, blah. But the left is like, they know who they're pandering to. They know them people aren't. That's not how you do it. If you want people to do what you want, you have to train them and you have to show them every single step of the way. So that's a big gap the right is missing.
Right. And the right also misses the personalities. The right also misses the personalities. And I think that's maybe a good thing in principle, right? I get that Trump chose Pence because of some reason. I don't understand why. I don't. But he didn't go, you know what? He didn't do what McCain did. I'm going to grab a woman because my opponent, might be, because that's important to that base. So I'm going to grab a woman. Look, everybody, I'm going to grab a black woman like Biden did, right? Now that's respectable, but Trump didn't do that thing of like, okay, I'm going to grab a
But he was still pandering because him and Pence weren't best friends. Like, Pence is like a super conservative Christian. Right. But at the same time, there's no level that they won't descend to. I feel like a lot of them. So yeah, it's interesting to see how they translate it.
Right. And the left grabs stars, and they grab them early. I was talking with a musician a few days ago, who is not in the politics game or whatever, but we were just kind of talking about stuff, and she said that she's taken a number of trainings, kind of like songwriting classes and songwriting trainings, like camps, and talk about whatever. And these A&R people, God bless them. They grab these little stars when they're 13, 14, 17, 18, and they mold them, and they give them public relations training, and they know, and these people know sometimes before they release their first song, what's the right thing to say, the right way to move, the right way to post, the right way to look, the right thing to dress, the right way to drink your Starbucks, the right way to blah, blah, blah. And so they get media training from the jump. And so they don't even have any ability to even like have a personality that they would have to push down. You know what I'm saying? That they would have to
There's
hide.
nothing there
There's
left.
nothing there. John Legend, come on. I'm not saying
Oh my
John Legend.
God.
John Legend is one of the worst people in the world, but I'm not saying
Literally.
he had a media training like way before he wrote his first song. But I'm saying he's an example of somebody who like I'm going to say the right thing, the thing I'm told to say, and it doesn't matter what consequences. When you look at his tweet about what was it 10 months ago, he tweeted about like not being at a public party without a mask on is just dumb. And then fucking literally 2 days later, he was at a fucking public party with shit fuck Obama in the goddamn fuck Hamptons with no goddamn mask, and there's
And that
no
was
consequences.
different.
Right.
That's different.
But
They're wealthy.
right,
That's different.
true, absolutely. And what's weird is that the ratio on that tweet was all negative. Nobody's like, you're right. And everybody's, fuck you, John Legend. You're a hypocritical piece of shit. There's no consequences, though. That's the interesting thing. There is a
No.
disconnect between what we feel and what's actually getting fed to us anyway.
No, there's no consequence. That's because people have very short-term memory. They're not going to remember anything. Like, remember what? I read something, and this is what I love about propaganda. It talks so, like when you read some of the books about propaganda where they're analyzing it, the way they talk about the public and people is just, they just dog them out. It's like, look, these idiots, they're not going to remember anything. Like, just keep on feeding them garbage. They're gonna be fine. Even if it gets so bad. There's one book where they're like, look, just please understand, even if what you're requesting in your like propaganda message goes against the very core of this person, because they lack the willpower to resist the message, they'll just comply eventually. And that's why it's like, just keep hammering them, because they just mentally will not be able to sustain it. They'll just eventually capitulate and just do whatever they are requested. And I've seen that all the time. That happens a lot. So there's a lot that you can learn if you study things like visual communication, if you study design. You can understand the brain has this very finite amount of resources to process information. And when you bombard it with certain things or you overwhelm it, you can get through a lot of the checks and barriers that the brain has and get them to just sort of act like zombies, just follow whatever the command was. It's pretty interesting.
And what's cool too, but I mean, I think it's obviously shifty and disgusting, but what's interesting too is that, yeah, there are some people they can hit them with the reward, hit them with the consequence, hit them with the reward, like the pandemic as an example. You're a grandma killer and we'll let you go to restaurants if you do it. Well, you're a grandma killer unless you do it. We'll let you you hit them with the rewards and the consequences. And at a certain point, they know what the ratio of people will take it and not, right?
Yes.
And then when it all comes out in the wash, or not when it all comes out in the wash, I'm looking forward to that. It won't probably happen, but when the dust settles, then we know, okay, not only do we know who already has it, but we know who doesn't, most importantly, right? And that's a certain percentage that now the people, now you also give them you're the right people. You give them the moral high ground, if you will, to the people who did
superiority.
Comply. Yeah, superiority. So it's more othering. I do a question came up to mind, and I obviously I appreciate conversations that are loose, whatever. So we might go on a quick tangent. But one thing I had talked about maybe last time when you were on the show, but where do you think? Because obviously sometimes it's a sales pitch, right? Sometimes it's a book about sales. Sometimes it's a book about motherfucking propaganda that has been studied and written by horrendous people. Where do you think the contempt for the everyman comes from?
It's because the everyman generally behaves like slaves, peasants. So when you see that behavior, it's like you can't really respect.
Right.
It's like, that's why it's like, for me, I understand why they're telling people, oh, you're gonna eat bugs and be happy. It's like you're literally gonna be eating maggots, and they know that the people will do it. And so it's like, how can you respect somebody who would allow themselves to just do it without even being forced, without even like, anything? Oh, it's climate change.
There she is.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, my internet just like blinked. Sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, see, it's because they're listening.
Exactly. So you're saying you can force people to eat bugs. You were talking about eating
Yeah,
bugs.
no. So that's where the contempt comes for humanity, because you have to also, when you're going to do bad things to people, you have to demonize them. You have to make them less than, just, like in slavery. They made all these excuses. Oh, these people are worse than us. They're not even human. They're primitive, blah, blah, blah. It's fine that we do this to them. It's fine that we like kill them and torture them, whatever. So you have to do that too, because then mentally it's really difficult to do something bad to people that you view as good and nice. So, and then also just people behave like slaves, so you sort of just, it's easy to play that role. And I mean, when you see people eating maggots because you made a suggestion, I would be like, oh wow, that's pathetic, and
Right.
and it's like, it's really sad. And that's the really sad part, is that there's been so many times in history where people were tortured and forced to do things, and they had to fight back. And now it's like a suggestion on TV. There's no one actually holding a gun to our heads and being like, hey, wear these 3 N95 masks, or we're going to blow your brains out, or take all your property, So
Yeah.
it's an even bigger level of degradation. Like, it's just sad. It's sad that they don't even have that willpower to say no, or just
Right.
don't do it. Yeah.
Right. And I will come to the defense a little bit because of the complications of, I mean, shit. It was easy, maybe, like, we don't know what the everyman would have done 300 years ago when
Oh
placed with a
no.
little bit of inconvenience, right? Because they were already busy in the motherfucking field from sunup to sundown, right? They already were only going to be living till they were 35, 38, 40 anyway. They already had kids when they were fucking 15 anyway, right? They were dying from fucking, oh, I ate the wrong thing and now I'm going to pass away in a day.
I know. I know. I'm gonna shit myself to death and die.
So it's like, and then you know what? I ate all the right things. Oh, but a bear is in my living room. Like, there was some crazy shit.
A wild boar just ate my baby's face.
Right, a wild exactly. So it's like, hey, if they had the comfort and convenience that we have in our current lives, they may have been like, oh, right, bugs. I mean, I don't think there's anything fundamentally morally different between them and us. What I like personally is that what I like to focus on is getting to, I wonder if we can evolve up.
Yeah.
Do you remember,
I think,
Bill Hicks?
yeah.
Yeah, Bill Hicks, the comedian, he said our next evolution is not another opposable thumb. Our next evolution is mental. Our next
Yeah.
evolution is spiritual, where we tap into the other parts of our minds and we level up. And I think we've gotten better and better and better. And less. I mean, I want to say primitive, but I know people are going to be like, "What do you mean?" I mean, black people are subhuman. No, I'm hilarious. I'm fucking
I
hilarious.
love it. I love it.
But what I'm trying to say is, I think we're leveling up. But I wonder
Yeah.
if we can, where that direction will be. It's interesting.
No, yeah, I definitely think it's going to be very stratified. There's going to be the people who are wearing 3 N95 masks, even though there's no reason to, because they're part of this whole cult thing of whatever the TV tells them. And then there's going to be the other side of people who have their own parallel economy, that we're building. People are building it all the time. And, it's continuing to grow, and they're just going to be like, no, we're not doing this. And then what are they going to do? They're going to fight? No, that's probably not going to happen. Make things inconvenient. Yeah. But the funny thing too, I want to mention is that when we talk about those people, hundreds of years ago, people who actually have real problems, like they're thinking about their survival and they have real work to do, like farming and, you know, sustaining their households, like that, propaganda doesn't work on them. They don't, they're not going to listen to your bullshit. They have actual real world problems. So that's why you have to get a society to a certain level of wealth and prosperity before you can actively propagandize to them.
That makes a lot of sense. That
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. You have to make it really bad or really good or a little both, you know. And the other thing is too, is that I think there is a level of autonomy that comes with, I did my own shit, I survived my own shit, I made my own, I'm sustaining my household. Where like, who the fuck even are you? Someone comes in, you should wear a, it's like, what? Like, bitch, I'm double your size spiritually. Who the fuck
Yeah.
even like, you know, have a good day. Like there's no connection emotionally because nothing can hit, right? It is an insecurity that opens that door mentally, emotionally, or whatever, to cocksucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And what we happen is, you know, we have the breakdown of the community. We have the globally, you know, we have the breakdown of organized religions globally. People aren't just, you know, in their community, going to whatever religion they go to, going to like whatever one job they have. That's broken down. And it's funny because I actually was listening to this lecture by this guy at Google. I forgot his name. He was doing a lecture on branding. And he was saying essentially in a few years, people's religion, people's community are going to be these brands, you know, and we see that now. Like lots of different people find their identity and their community by their brands that they associate with. Whether it's like you're Nike, you love Fauci, you love whatever it is that you know follow and you're obsessed with. That's your new community. So I think people need to start co-opting those and really acknowledging that it's not that we didn't behave this way before. It's just that it's broken up so much because now we have the information age. We can change our identity all the time.
Right. I think also, because again, people who follow me are often conservative, not often, not all the time, but I think Trump did a good job propagandizing. What's the word? He did a good job pandering. And still he still is reaching for the old tools for an ever shrinking base. What do I mean by that? I don't mean that the conservative base is shrinking. It's the exact opposite. What I mean is stop saying like proud to be an American. Like I just feel like the people who that emotionally touches connected to him is dwindling. Right? Not our love for our country, not patriotism, not fuck these cocksucking commie pieces of shit, you know, let's eat bugs. I'm saying, bro, you can't say the same. You have to address Trumpy. Listen, you have to address what the fuck happened in 2020 and 2021, where you just motherfucking in fact, helped support pushing a vaccine and that was right. Like, you got to address what the fuck that is. If Trump was like, listen, I'll still vote for him if the vote came down today. If it's between him and the lizard cocksuckers, I'll vote for him. But I think what happened in 2020 and 2021 made me feel like he's a lizard cocksucker.
Yeah, I get what you're saying about that. And my thing is this, it might be a conversation you would want to have, but it's honestly a conversation that's way too emotionally difficult for a lot of people. Like, honestly, like psychologically, people are not ready to have the real conversation. They're not ready to dive in deep and be real about things. They're just like trying to move on, trying to forget, trying to just keep it moving, keep it moving. They're not ready to unpack all that. So it's a lot to ask to have that sort of like conversation with the nation. And then in terms of the you know, proud to be an American branding, I think you're right, but it's up to people like us to do that next level, to make that next, you know, how do you connect? How could you, you know, be someone who's anti-globalist but you're not like thumping the proud to be American country song, you know, finding that. And that's people like us making this alternative media, because he can't do everything, like, honestly. And there's a lot of white people in America. Like, there's a lot. So, you know, I get that. But yeah, with the whole vaccine thing, oops, sorry, I hope that doesn't flag you on your channel.
No.
But the whole, that whole conversation, I think it will explain itself. Either we're going to see some really interesting results very soon, or it will just sort of, like, you know, drift away, because it's really too hard, because you can't tell millions of people that they literally just like destroyed their genes or something like that. That's going to be a little too difficult to process. So going head on would be nice, but not everyone is as mature and ready to have that conversation as you are or I am, you know? Think about it. It's like the average person, I think, is like 8th grade, 6th grade, you know? So.
And side note, by the way, everybody, you can stay 6th grade, 8th grade as long as you level up emotionally. You ain't got to know, you know. But you understand what I'm saying. I'm like, bitch, be dumb, but meditate. Like, that's what I'm saying. That, you know.
It takes a level of self-awareness to meditate.
Right.
I mean, like, honestly, people are stupid. Like, they're not smart.
Here's what's again, because whether or not, see, I think I always go back to that word fulcrum. Whether or not you see somebody or a large group of people or the average mass as stupid or not, like, that's not even necessarily a problem, as long as we get smaller government, right?
Yeah.
So, like, as an example, the lizards, they think we're all dumb, stupid fucks, and they go and they do that fucking, that black guy in a yellow suit outside, you know, next to the tree. Oh, my mics fell.
Yeah.
You know, Democrats and the lizards, they think we're stupid, and they go, yeah, yeah, and they want to take advantage of us. We can still think like, okay, most people are stupid. Anyway, here's a little race bait, here's a little white guilt, here's a little, but I'm doing this for your fucking benefit, not goddamn mine. I'm doing this so that we can help. I mean, because small government fixes that. Whether, as an example, whether you like killing babies or not, the end of Roe v. Wade is a good thing. It is because it means smaller. Alabama don't make decisions for Manhattan, and Manhattan don't make decisions for Alabama. That's why the Democrats in Washington is mad about Roe v. Wade getting overturned. It's not because they give a fuck about women's rights. Bitch, shut the fuck up. They just want to squeeze us, and they can't squeeze us as easily if we get a whiff of, wait a second, smaller government might be a good idea. You know?
And that's what we should frame the argument around. But people get so, you know, obviously it's difficult to, you know, not get emotionally invested in that topic. It gets a lot of attention. But yeah, if we could effectively reframe arguments, there's a book called Don't Think of an Elephant, and it's all about political messaging and how do you know, focus the argument so you can actually make progress rather than, you know, constantly defending yourself, because that's what the right does. They're constantly defending themselves against something. Somebody says, oh, you're racist. Oh, now we're spending, you know, the next 3 years talking about that. Like, who cares? But they're not very good at that. They just react. So it should be a smaller government. That's the central thing. That should be it. But of course, anything that stops people from abortion is like the worst. It's like the worst crime. The crimes against humanity.
I know Lizzo is oppressed.
I know.
No one's fucking that dumb bitch anyway. It's true. Let's be real. Okay. We may be having a high level.
Look, me and Lizzo. Look, girl, if you need a girlfriend,
listen. We may be having a high level discussion about propaganda, but every once in a while we gotta just we gotta get a little filthy.
Yeah,
Your ears.
no,
Listen,
seriously.
Lizzo,
Seriously.
I like self-acceptance too. Okay, I think it's
Mhm.
important to be honest with ourselves and to be nice to ourselves. Yeah, that's a great woohoo. But the idea that she could walk out of it like Lizzo, okay, I'm surprised I don't smell her vagina now. Okay, because she gets out of a car and walks into a Publix and she's sweating all over the place. Of course she's gonna be smelly. How in the fuck am I supposed to like treat her like a sexual object if she's not taking care of her motherfucking self? Okay. And then surfacey, if she smells like shit, come on. Come on.
So I'm actually, for my anyone who's watching this on my YouTube channel, I'm gonna go in on that whole fat acceptance thing a little bit. And do I call them walking trash bags? No, toxic trash bags. Like, yes.
Okay.
You know, what are the number? It's bad, but the number one argument, I'm like, they're like, love your body, love your body. And if you loved your body, why are you crushing your organs with toxic fat? Like, why would you do that? That's not loving your body.
No.
So it's like, yeah, there's the like side of, oh, I see a fat person, let me attack them and demoralize them.
Yeah.
No one's doing
No.
that. But then you
Well,
also don't, you know, you don't highlight this person as being the epitome of beauty. That's not, no, because she's sick. Like, fat literally captures toxic, like that's what it is. It captures, like, it's full of sludge. Like, it's not a good thing. It's not good. Let's just say that. So yeah,
Right.
it's not a good thing, but that doesn't mean you hurt people emotionally for being that way.
No. Right. Although she is a dumb fat bitch. But anyway.
Look, Lizzo, if you need somebody to fly me over just with you, I'm here.
Yeah, let's just go do some, you know, teach her how to do some Pilates. You know what I mean?
No, it's so sad. Yeah, her fans got mad at her from getting healthy. Like, they were really upset with her.
I thought
'Cause
that was Adele.
No, that was Lizzo too. That was Lizzo. No,
She
Adele
got-
was like, she doesn't care. Adele has FU money for real, for real.
Right.
She's like, I'm gonna lose this weight. But no, Lizzo, she was like walking on a treadmill and they like lost their shit. So
Right.
yeah.
Insecurity is a really powerful thing.
Yeah, they have to
Really
justify it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Let's talk about, before we start to wrap up in 10, 15,
Mhm.
let's
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about Biden's speech. Yeah.
That was so good. That was so
Wasn't that great?
good. That was so beautiful. I felt so inspired because I'm a huge fan of the Nazi Party. And so I love to see I love to see it.
Right. Go, girl. So what in the sweet hot fuck do you think
So
happened?
that was obviously a ritual. That was obviously because imagery and all that stuff. So I think for me, I think what they're trying to do is okay, so you know the whole red wave thing that everybody says, and the Republican color is red. But when you see the Republican color red, it looks very different from the red that you saw there. So it was sort of like a reversal thing. Like, they're trying to capture that energy and flip it. Because let's be honest, these people, they don't do what they do just, you know, because it's fun or looks good or cool. It's very much dealing with that whole esoteric part, that part that's just, you know, it's a conspiracy, it's not real. Woo woo. Well, they use it all the time. So that imagery, I feel like they're trying to capture and flip it, like reverse the course. And that's why they're demonizing it. They're doing all these things, because why are they using red? Their color's supposed to be blue. That doesn't make any sense. And also it's, you know, the red color is very, you know, there's a reason the Nazis use it. But they use a different shade, so, and different energy. Right. But yeah, it was very Nazi-esque. My favorite meme was when they had the speech over when Emperor Palpatine took over in Star Wars. It was they were like flowing in and he's just doing the speech. I was like, yes, it's exactly the vibe.
Now, I have noticed, and it's obviously on purpose. So let's talk about let's get into a little bit of the meat here. Rather than us getting led around by our emotions, right? Which conservatives are apt to do as well. Okay. Just because you're a conservative or a libertarian doesn't mean you're a little emotional bitch like everybody else. Okay.
Yeah, for real.
Okay. That's why self-care over all that shit. But let's and disconnect from social media for a couple hours at least. Come on now, girl. But anyway, we got all distracted into he's demonizing us. Do you realize everybody is doing it all at the same time? Right? Obviously, they've been pushing it, whatever. I'm not saying that they haven't been peppering it in, but I'm saying it was a very intentional shift that happened the last week, where whatever white intern is running Biden's Twitter said the same thing.
You know it's an Indian American. Stop.
You think it's an Indian dude?
Probably.
Yeah, if it's
of color.
Right, it's a Nigerian prince. But he said, Trump and MAGA Republicans are a threat to the very soul of our country.
Of the deep state. The very soul of the deep state. Just put the deep state in wherever he says democracy or country or whatever. Just put the deep state.
Right. He's essentially saying, if you vote the way I don't want you to, you're a threat to the voting process. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? That's some insane, that's some crazy shit, right? Now, at the same time, I am not a fan of Joe Biden. But what I'm about to say might be a little, hear me out. Trump said some similar shit over the course of the last 6-7 years. I'm not saying it doesn't mean something different when the fucking pants shitting Joe Biden said it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Trump was off cuff, off top, just boom, boom, boom. Yeah, the snowflake liberals are a threat to the country. Come on. He would have said that shit and did say that shit. Come on. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I get that. But what are the principles that it just hit different though.
It did.
It hit different. And that's what I'm saying. It hit it's a different, the words that they're saying and the energy behind it is different. They could use, like I said, they use red. Republicans use red. They use red in that, but it hit different. It was different. There was a difference. And that's because of the underlying energy to it. It's not that, it's a threat to our freedom. And yeah, turning everything into a socialist, communist country where we turn off all of our power grids and shut everything down because of clean energy, that is literally a threat to us. But not having pornographic books in schools is not a threat to the country. That's not. Teaching 9-year-olds how to masturbate is not, that's a threat to the country. No, banning books that teach children to do that. That's not the threat. The threat is having the book. So it hits different. Yeah. And projection is real.
And the what?
Projection is real.
What do you mean by that?
Projecting, they just project. This is what they're doing. This they just project things out. But yeah, it is. You're right. There's authoritarianism on both sides, obviously.
And I'm not even saying authoritarianism when Trump said that shit. Yeah. I'm saying that motherfucker, whether or not he did everything right, Trump made decisions. He did. And at least had the cultural words that he put out was, fuck us. We're doing this for the people, right? And he acted that way, and he made decisions at getting rid of the what was it? Didn't he get rid of the EPA? No.
He got rid of the Paris Accord. He got us out of the Paris Accord, which was one of the biggest things.
Right. Yeah. He made voting decisions. Whether or not it was to placate or pander, he made voting decisions that were small government centric, that were smaller power for the government centric. And the reality is the opposite is happening. So as far as the opposite is happening. So the context, the reason also why it hit different is because we all felt what it means now when a government decides whether or not you get to have a business, when a government decides whether or not you can go to school, when a government decides whether or not you can go play in the Australian Open, when a government decides what you can do with your fucking life, right? What you can do with your mouth.
If you own your children.
If you own your children. It now hits different, not just because it's some fucking You know, I even said that when I didn't vote for fucking Trump in 2016 and he won. I remember thinking, I was talking to this girl I had dated that year, called me, and she was just worried and scared and we're all going to die. And even though I didn't like Trump, I was like, I don't think it's that big a deal. Like, there's enough of a insulation in between the president and the fucking nuclear button or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
The fuck the American people button. There's enough
Mhm.
insulation there. And so there was that, and there was a growing insulation between Trump and his Twitter and the reality of his voting and legislative decisions. Now we've seen what it actually means when when Biden or whoever is working his strings decides, nope, yeah, we're going to actually flex on you.
Exactly. Like, we're literally going to take your rights away. Uh-oh. So that's the thing. It's like, regardless of how, I mean, whatever, there's authoritarianism on both sides. I'm going to go with the people who are going to let me at least work to eat. Because honestly, as a Black woman, because I'm a woman of color.
You are a
Okay?
woman of color.
I'm a woman of many colors.
You're
And
BIPOC.
yeah, I'm also trying to get into the Latinx, but it's like, how many freaking rallies do I have to go to? Anyway,
you don't have to go to a rally. You just have to wear a Mexican flag on the hood of your car.
or just put a Latina sweatshirt on. But no, not being able to work, not having money. Now we're going into sex trafficking. Now we're going into, you know, we're going to live with the Haitians in like the bad neighborhood. Like, now we're going into places that are actually dangerous. So it's like, the reality for me, because I grew up in Chicago, the reality of money versus no money is not just, oh, it's just, you know, a temporary setback. It's literally danger. It's literally not being safe. It's literally, like, it's very real. So that whole thing about, oh, well, he's racist. Like, I don't give a hell. I don't, like, an F. Like, it doesn't matter as long as I can at least take care of myself and survive. And these people are literally telling me they're going to stop me from doing that. So whatever coalition they brought together, I don't care. I'll go with the dude with whatever he's wearing. Do I get along with the guy from Nebraska? No. Like, do we have a lot to talk about? No. But I mean, we want the similar goals. Leave me the F alone. So that's who I'm going to go with. I'm sorry. Like, that's just how it is.
That's absolutely right. And even though Trump said a bunch of like snowflake liberals he would have said snowflake liberals are a threat to the very soul of this country. He wasn't trying to turn their voice off. Boom. He wasn't going to Twitter and saying, you need to shut down the voice. You should. He wasn't the FBI fucking I. And by the way, if you work for the FBI, you're a fucking faggot.
I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe with this.
Fuck you. But he wasn't going
Seriously.
he wasn't saying to the FBI, hey, you need to go and shut down shit at Facebook. You need to tell them what to censor. He wasn't doing that.
Exactly. So it's like, there is objective truth. There's like right and wrong. Like, I know people hate that idea, but there is.
Right.
Like, stealing from people is wrong. Forcing people to take medical procedures against their will or they starve, that's wrong. So I'm sorry. It is what it is. Like, there's no gray area with that. It's just wrong. So if this is the side that's like, no, we're not doing that right now, then okay, I'm gonna go with them.
Can we be real?
Like, no, but there was the funniest Tim Dillon joke. He was saying that one side wants to bring on the Mao and like have their little Maoists, and then the other side wants to bring back the Holy Roman Empire. So it's like, I don't want to be on either of the extremes, okay? Because both are messed up. But anyway.
Right. But if one has a flamethrower 3 inches from my face and the other one has a slingshot down the block, I'm gonna focus on the threat. Sorry.
Seriously.
And I'll poke. We have already done it on this show, but I'll poke fucking fun and I'll talk shit about conservatives. Like, I remember when fucking what's her face, Brandy Love, was kicked out of Turning Point USA, and I saw a couple of dumb fucking conservatives online going, "We should ban porn." fucking mouth breathing cocksucker. Listen, Jesus doesn't give a like. Jesus, stop. My walk with God is not your goddamn fucking business. As long as
Of
I'm not killing a
course.
fucking kid, shut the fuck up, dumb motherfucker.
Yeah, seriously. Like they say, oh, masturbation is bad because it doesn't please God. Yeah, it's specifically designed to please me. So come on.
Anyway, I won't.
Safe, legal, and rare. All right.
Safe, legal, and rare masturbation. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's start wrapping up. Yeah, this has been great. So you've got stuff, anything specific you want to plug? Where can people, do you have the name of your YouTube video or your YouTube
Right now
channel?
it's just like the same. The channel is like Propaganda Fluent. So you can just follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube. I'm there. I have a TikTok also. So yeah, that's where it's going to be. We're going to break stuff down. We're going to look at things in a way that no one, I think, has ever really discussed it. And I have to give a disclaimer. I'm a little bit authoritarian and like, okay, this is how you just need to do this with these people. I'm not like all light and love for people because honestly, like, come on now. You guys are literally lining up to eat bugs. Like how? What am I supposed to say to that? I can't.
So you're saying you've got a little bit of the contempt, but you're also coming from a place of
I'm coming from a place of love that if you do eat the bugs and end up dying, I will move you out of the way as swiftly as possible.
I mean, there is something about that. I gotta say, that's part of the reason I moved to Austin is like, okay, New York, if you want to hit bottom, have fun. Keep voting Democrat. Keep voting for the fucking stupid Hochul. Keep voting for Eric Faggot Adams. Keep doing it. Don't stop. Don't just keep let your city die, New Yorkers. Let your state die, Californians. You're not done until you drank all the booze you need to. You smoked all the fucking meth you need to. Get done, baby. Yeah. I'm going to detach myself and make it as much as possible. Help save as many people in those places culturally and get them out of there. And also, detached so that when your house falls off the cliff, my foundation is not connected to yours.
Yeah, seriously, literally. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time.
Yeah. So you've got stuff coming up. Where can people find you on the Instagram?
Just the Propaganda Fluent, and that's just all over social media. I need to get on the Twitter, but that's a lot of work to fight with all those people. But yeah, that's where you can find me. So check me out. Get ready. It's going to be great. I think I really enjoy editing.
Oh, I fucking, well, I do a fucking amazing job because I'm good at everything, but I'm really humble.
Literally best.
Wherever you're listening, everybody, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this and share it, or you're racist. I love you very much. You can find me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano. And mwah.